Hi there, this is Ranjit, and in this video we would be comparing the Moto E and the Asus Zenfone 4, both of which are entry-level budget-oriented Android phones with good overall performance. If we talk about the build quality, both have good build quality, but the Moto E just feels a bit better. The Moto E is also slightly heavier than the Zenfone 4. On the other hand, I don't like the power buttons on the Moto E. It's a bit mushy, whereas the buttons on the Zenfone have a good clicky feel to them. Moving towards the screen, the Moto E has a slightly larger screen at 4.3 inches with a slightly higher screen resolution compared to the Zenfone 4. The Zenfone 4 has a 4-inch screen. Also, in terms of viewing angles, I feel Motorola did a better job with the Moto E. The Zenfone 4 screen is decent for the price, but viewing angles are not as good as Moto E. Also, the Zenfone 4 lacks the auto brightness sensor. Another thing that I don't like on the Zenfone 4 is the screen is very reflective like a mirror. If we talk about the speakers, the Moto E has a front firing speaker which is definitely louder compared to the rear speaker found on the Zenfone 4. Now moving towards the camera, on paper the Zenfone 4 looks better as it has a 5 megapixel camera with autofocus which can record videos up to 1080p, that's full HD. The Zenfone 4 also has a front-facing VGA camera, but there is no front-facing camera on the Moto E, nor it can record videos in HD. But both these devices lack LED flash. In outdoor conditions, I would say the pictures that I got with the Moto E were better. The Zenfone 4 was sharp, but it just tends to oversaturate the colors, which makes the pictures look very unnatural and the colors are just way off. I had the same issue with the video that I shot with the Zenfone 4. But in artificial light and low lighting, the Zenfone 4 did slightly better than the Moto E. But overall, I would say the camera on both these devices were nothing great to talk about. They are just below average cameras. Coming to the user interface, the Moto E runs almost a stock UI and it runs it pretty well. There is a minor hiccup at times when you are doing a lot of multitasking, but overall Moto E handles it well. On the other hand, the Zenfone 4 runs a custom skin by Asus known as Zen UI, which does offer a lot of customization, and I was very surprised how fluid the experience was with the Zenfone 4. There was no lagginess when using the phone and it performed very well in the UI. If we talk about gaming here, I would say the Zenfone 4 was better than the Moto E. It's not like the Moto E cannot run many Android games, but the internal storage is very limited on Moto E, so you cannot install many heavy games. Also, when I ran Asphalt 8 on Moto E, I had to keep the graphics settings at medium level, but on Asus Zenfone 4, I had no issues. I could run Asphalt 8 and even Modern Combat 4 at high settings without any lag. Also, the Zenfone 4 has higher internal storage, so you can store a lot more games on the Zenfone 4. So for gaming, I feel the Zenfone 4 was a little bit better. Moving to the battery life, I feel here the Moto E performed better as it has a 1980 mAh battery compared to the Zenfone 4, which has a 1600 mAh battery. It's not like the Zenfone 4 battery life is bad, but when compared to Moto E definitely had a better battery life. But do note that Moto E does not have a user replaceable battery. In terms of cellular call quality, both are good. I did not notice any muddiness or reception issues when I made calls, but I felt if I would have to compare, the Zenfone 4 was surprisingly better in call quality. To conclude, I would say if you are an average user that does not play heavy games, then I feel the Moto E is a better device due to its better screen quality and battery life. But if gaming is a high priority for you, then the Asus Zenfone 4 would be better. I hope this video helps you in deciding which device is better for you. Both these devices are sold in India via Flipkart, and if you do plan to purchase them, do use my link that is in the show notes. It does help the channel. Thank you. This is Ranjit and I hope to see you in my next video.